We continue to monitor the fallout from the U.S. operation over the weekend that captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. They now face drug trafficking charges in New York City. President Trump and his administration detailed the operation Saturday morning for the first time at a press conference at Mar-a-Lago. U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican from Ohio, was in the room for that press conference. He joins us on Action News Now. Senator, we wanted to get your thoughts about what went down over the weekend with Venezuela. We saw you in the background there of that news conference at Mar-a-Lago. First question, were you down there before knowing about the strikes? And walk me through that morning.
So what we conducted in the wee hours of Saturday morning was probably the greatest military operation in modern American history. We should be so incredibly proud of our military. What we did was very simple. President Obama had issued an executive order calling for Maduro to leave office because he was a drug trafficker. Biden escalated that and added a $25 million bounty on his head. What President Trump did was very simple. He used our U.S. military, which, by the way, let me just say again, in a meticulous operation to bring an indicted drug trafficker to justice, and that's exactly where he is. He's sitting in a jail cell in New York City, and we'll have a fair trial here in America, and I'm very confident because the evidence is overwhelming that he will be convicted. Now, because he was the illegitimate ruler of a country, we have to go in there and stabilize the country, get through a period of recovery, and then get to a period of transition where the country can have a democratically elected government like it used to have. This operation is extraordinarily popular in Latin America. Many politicians on both sides of the aisle, including presidents, have talked about helping Latin America for decades. This is the first substantive time that happened. So I can tell you Saturday was an historic day. It was a joyous day in South Florida and throughout the U.S. where the people of Hispanic origin know how important this is, like I am. But more importantly, it really benefits the United States because what it means is dramatically less amounts of drugs coming into our neighborhoods, killing our friends and relatives. It means dramatically less, if not no, illegal migration coming out of Latin America, which lowers wages, raises costs, and saps our social safety nets programs. So it's a very, very positive day. It was amazing to be down there. And I can tell you this, we have the most courageous commander-in-chief we've ever had.
How did you learn about the operation?
Look, I won't go into any details other than to just say that it was absolutely amazing to be part of this historic moment. President Trump has done more for Latin America than every other president combined. You see the videos of the cheering through the streets of Venezuela. Venezuela was being robbed blind by socialist dictators that were really nothing more than just good old-fashioned drug dealers. Maduro, God knows how many billions he stole from that country. And now that money will be used to reimburse our expenses for going in there and apprehending him, plus rebuilding Venezuela. And just to your viewers, understand this. There isn't a cent of U.S. taxpayer dollars that will be used to help rebuild Venezuela. It's their money that will be used to rebuild their country with our supervision. And we will be reimbursed for the money that we've already spent enforcing that drug indictment against Maduro.
We see what the president did in Venezuela. Do you want to see him carry out similar actions or be involved in a place like Colombia or Cuba?
Well, in Colombia, you have a democratically elected president. That's a very different situation. And by the way, the election is a few months away in which a strong candidate will win a fair and free election. There's nobody who disputes that election will be free and fair. The U.S. military cooperates with the Colombian military all the time. They're a great ally. So there's no analogy between Colombia and Venezuela. Now, what I will say to you is that the current democratically elected president of Colombia, who is a terrible leader, has facilitated, through ignorance and lack of will, allowed Colombia to have record amount of cocaine production. And I'm confident that the next duly elected president of Colombia will clamp down on that and go after these drug cartels. But again, these guys were being protected by Venezuela. So remember, Venezuela and Colombia have a huge border. So these drug operations were in Colombia, but the drug cartels were being given safe haven in Venezuela. That, of course, will also end because the current transitional government in Venezuela we're going to make sure that that's what they do.